Good morning, park managers, and welcome back. Today we're on Community Park 11.0, and today's suggestion will be from Skibbity Bush, who asked for an Ankylosaurus, and they just need some inspiration for their favourite dinosaurs. And with this build itself, I do go for a little bit of inspiration, and you'll see where I get that inspiration a little bit later on. Anyways, I'm doing something I've never done before, and that's actually place an off-show area in the middle of the enclosure. Now, I feel with the Ankylosaurus, you could probably train them to go into the middle of this to shut it off so our keepers can get in there and safely clean the enclosure. Because obviously an Ankylosaurus would be something pretty dangerous to come across. That club, if it hits your ribcage, let's just say goodbye to your ribcage and your organs inside of it. It's not going to be a pretty end for you. So we don't want our keepers to stay nice and safe. So we're still going to make them this off-show area where they can be safely housed in when they go in to clean up the enclosure. Now, for this enclosure, like I said, I've got some inspiration behind it, and there's a reason why I'm doing it the way I am. I've done these narrow dirt paths, which, funnily enough, the Ankylosaurus actually do use, and the idea was behind it that these are well-used path areas for keepers and the Ankylosaurus, so it's kind of cool to see them actually use it. Then I used their food brush and placed it absolutely everywhere, and then we went for the multi-trees, the temperate trees, and the tropical trees, and the main reason for this is, like I said, from the inspiration, which we'll get into in just a bit. But honestly, this enclosure is really nice, and it's one of those enclosures where it doesn't look like much from above, and that's the idea of the thick canopy. You've got to be on that ground level and sort of like inside the enclosure to really appreciate the way it looks. So for our Ankylosauruses that we've added to the enclosure, we've got 3 of them, and we didn't put a random colour, but they ended up all being the same. I don't know how, but honestly, I really do like these colours because we've got the browns, we've got the greens, and they kind of camouflage in with the enclosure with those dirt paths, all those different food items that are knocking around for them. Sometimes from a distance, they kind of almost move invisibly through the enclosure, with your only really noticeable parts being those spikes at the end of their plated armor. And now this is that scene where I actually got the inspiration from. Recently I was watching Jurassic World, and this Ankylosaurus scene, I absolutely love it. It was really cool with the trees. There's not much like high level like shrubbery knocking around. It was all low level, and then a lot of dirt everywhere. So that, like I said, that was the inspiration for this build, and that's why you can see we've all got those trees with the thick trunks, because it kind of matches that sort of look. And we've used a food brush everywhere to give that sort of low bearing kind of shrubbery, and then the dirt paths for like the sort of the bare areas where they are walking through a lot. And we did the bare areas outside the viewing galleries to somewhat be like a kind of area where it's easy for the guests to see the Ankylosaurus when they happen to cross that step, which they do occasionally. But like I said, they actually use the footpaths that I've sort of made inside of this enclosure, which is something I really enjoyed and love to see. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I hope it's given you some inspiration, and like I said, not every enclosure has to look pretty from above, but as long as it's at that guest perspective prettiness from the ground, then it doesn't really matter, because obviously your guests ain't floating in the air looking down. That's only you. So anyways, as always, thank you for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.